Okay, standing with the feet, shoulder width apart. Soften the knees, shoulders relaxed, grow tall through the spine. Take your right arm up to your ear. Yes, I was like, right arm. It is your right arm. Lengthen up to the ceiling, and then tilting to the side, stretching out. And then I want you to place your left hand just on the side of your hip and give it a little bit of a push so that you slide the hips over to the side. You get a little bit of an extra stretch into the hip. And then come up again and bring that arm all the way down. Same side, so right side again. Lift up to the ear, reach to the ceiling. Tip over just a little bit, hand on the hip, and just slide it out a little bit. Yeah, and then coming slowly back up and down. We go, left arm up to the ear, reach to the ceiling. Just tilting over gently, hand on the hip, and then just give it a bit of a push so it slides the hip sideways. A little bit of an extra stretch into the top of the ITB, and then coming back up. And last one, lifting up, stretch to the ceiling, and reach the roof that time. And go slowly back down. And relax. Taking your chin forward, so we're not doing a roll down, you're just stretching the back of your neck. So just looking to your tummy, place both of your hands onto the back of your head. And just rest in there. Relax your elbows forward so they're floppy around your head or your face. And so the weight of your hands is all that is pulling on your head. You don't want to be pulling actively on the back of your neck. Just resting the hands there. Go a breath cycle or two. And then you can take your hands away from the back of your head and then looking up straight. Take your head over to the left side, so left ear to left shoulder. Relax the shoulders down, and you'll already probably feel a stretch down the side of the neck. Be careful that you're not turning your face down or looking up. And then take your left hand, place it on the side of your head, and just rest your hand there. So you're not actively pulling. Again, you're just using the weight of your hand to create the stretch. Holding for a few seconds. Yeah, good. And then you take the hand away from the side of the head and looking up straight. Take your head over to the right side. There you go. Just take the ear towards that side. Place the hand on the side of your head. Rest your hand there. Good. And just check that you're not tilting your body over. So you want to keep your body up nice and straight. It's just your head that's leaning over. Excellent. And hand away from the side of the head and looking up straight. Okay, take both arms out to the side, so up to rugby posts. That's it, American football post actually. You're going to reach up to the sky, so going up. As you come down, you're going to take your hands backwards as you can. So you're trying to get that sort of an angle for anyone watching this. And then bring the elbows down towards the sides as you keep your hands as behind your elbows as you can. Coming back up again, stretching up. You go past that kind of football post, and as you reach up, you'll release the shoulder blades. So you'll feel as you come down, you get to that 90 degrees, you can engage the shoulder blades. It feels quite tight into the shoulder blades as you move your hands backwards. Bring the elbows down to the side. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then lifting up. As you get to that 90 degrees, you'll feel you're able to release your shoulder blades and stretch up to the ceiling. Here we go. Coming down again. You're just getting a little bit of that external rotation. Imagine that movement we did on Wednesday. We were lying on the floor and you try and lift your hands off the floor and your elbows stay down. It's that same external rotation. And as you go past 90 degrees, you just release it and stretch upwards. Coming down one more time. As your elbows come to 90 degrees, you pull your hands backwards. Careful not to arch into the back. All the way down. And then lifting up. Last one. Keep those hands back. And then release and stretch up. Hold your right wrist. And pull yourself over to the right side. That's okay. Holding your right wrist. Sorry, you're pulling yourself over to the left side. So actually you were correct. You're holding your right wrist. Pulling yourself over to the left. I think you're holding your left wrist, but don't worry about it. It's all good. So it's as if that hand is pulling over a side here. And And then coming back up to the center, change the hands over, so you're holding onto the other side, and pull that arm over your head. Side release is very important for posture and for functional movement. So often we focus very much on tight chest muscles, but actually the side lines are very important. And come all the way up, arms down to the side. Ah, there we go, right. That was the easy part. Feet are hip distance apart. Feet are pointing straight forward. You're going to imagine you're sitting down on a chair. So just our good old fashioned squats, going up and down. And as you go up and down, you've got two things to check. Whether your knees are going in line with your toes as you bend the knees down and up, and to check whether your knees are coming over your toes. So pushing the bum backwards, so as if you're sitting down on a chair behind you, so that your knees don't come over the toes. So you can lean fairly far forward as you go up and down. Okay. We've got one more to go. And then coming up, you're going to take both hands in front of you, place your palms together, just below shoulder height with the hands. As you come down now, so the same thing, you're going to bend the knees into a little squat, take both your hands to the right knee, and then come back up, standing up tall. And then come down, go to the left knee, and standing up tall. Coming down again, keep the tummy a little bit tight, and standing up tall. And just have a look at the knees, maybe briefly. One will be sliding forwards a little bit, that's fine. But are they shifting sideways or not? So don't let them conk in. Go, don't forget to breathe. Keep the shoulders relaxed if you can. One more to each side. Actually, two more. So you balance yourself out to the right and then to the left. Go, last one. Coming up, and relax those arms down to the side. You're going to stand again with the arms parallel this time. So just slightly apart, just below shoulder height. And you're going to take your right arm behind you as far as you can go. Open the chest out to the back, soften the knees a little bit. You can let your hips rotate. See if you can notice how far back that right hand goes. And then bring the hand all the way back forwards. Changing to the other side. So stretching around as far as you can. It might feel a little bit tight today. It's early in the year, early in the day. And come all the way back to the center. One more to each side. Let your hips shift. Keep the knees soft so you're not locking into any knee, either knee. And then come forwards. Last one. Stretch around as far as you can. And coming all the way forwards and relax the arms down to the side. Okay, back to that rotation exercise. So now this time we're going to stand on one leg. Hands in front of you, palms together. You can choose which leg you go on. It's really not too serious. Hands and palms together. You're going to bend that knee down. So let's just check in a little bit first. We're not doing any rotation yet. So you're just bending down. This time the knee will have to go over the toe just a little bit. It's virtually impossible to get it behind the toe. And if you feel like your balance is feeling all right, then you can go into a little rotation. So take the hands down to the outside of the right leg and then come up. And then down to the left knee and come up. Slow and controlled. So you have to slow it down if you're doing the rotation. So you're going to feel that glute working quite hard. Don't focus on a moving object like a small child. And down. And down we go. Up and last one to your left knee. Come back up and hands down, feet down. Shake it out a bit. You should actually feel your glute is working the hardest on that one. Changing over to the other side. It should be. Standing on the other side. So lifting up, it doesn't matter which side you were on. Change over to the other side, hands in front of you. First, just do a little check-in. So bend that knee down and come up. So small movements. Don't worry too much about the knee going over the toe. However, if your knee is sore doing this one, then just change your range a little bit. So don't go as low And once you feel like you've got it, you've got your focus point, it's helping you balance, try and do a little rotation maybe, and then come up. And rotate down, coming up. Good. Here we go. Good. You can lift that leg to the front if it feels better. So see what kind of feels more comfortable. But if it's better having it to the back, that's fine. Last one, down to the right knee, coming up, well, whichever knee you were going to. Put that foot down and take it out a bit. Do you feel the bum working in that one? Yeah, more so than anything else, hopefully. Let's go back to the old original. So a nice little roll down. Tuck the chin in, hang the arms heavy, soften the knees. Keep the tummy just a little bit engaged and rounding through the spine. Just check in with how it feels today. So it might feel a little bit tighter than normal. It might feel nice and flexy. Maybe it's stretching down the back of the legs or into the back or the calves. Just hold it at the bottom of that stretch for a little bit. And then you're going to slowly start restacking your spine, placing one vertebra on another. Stop when your hands get to your knees. So your spine is rounded, your hands are on the front of your thighs, your knees are soft, and you're going to start uncurling your spine. So uncurl from the tailbone, start pushing the bum almost backwards, tummy can come down a bit, chest comes forwards, lift your gaze, squeeze the shoulder blades together, open the collarbones, and then tuck the tailbone under, lift up through the belly, rounding the shoulders, look to your tummy, keep your hands on the thighs the whole time, keep the knees soft, and then uncurling the tailbone. Let the tummy come down, let the chest come forwards, head comes up. Go, and just one more going into a rounded position. So lifting the tummy, rounding the shoulders, looking to your tummy. And then you can just soften into your neck, take your hands off the front of your thighs and come down a little bit further. So rolling down to about mid-shin, place the hands on the front of your shins. And let's see what the range is like in this position. So start pushing the bum a little bit backwards, let the tummy come down, chest come forward, gaze lifts a little bit. And you'll find that it's a reduced range, and that's fine. Tuck the tailbone under, rounding the spine. Pull the tummy tight, round the shoulders. And then uncurl the tailbone, lifting the chest forwards. Try and open the collarbones just a little bit. See if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together. It's almost impossible. And then tuck the tailbone under, lift into the belly, round the spine, look to the tummy, and then just release those hands, relax the neck. So maybe give it a little bit of a shake or a nod, and hinge yourself a little bit lower so that your hands can go down to the floor. If you're bending your knees quite a lot, that's fine. Place your hands flat on the floor if you can. Bend the knees as much as you need to. And then fold your chest down towards your knees. So see how much of a closed gap you can get between your knees and your chest. So you're really trying to flop yourself down. And then let's see if you can straighten the knees just a fraction. So just put a little bit of tension into the hamstrings and then bend the knees and release that stretch. And straightening again, get as much tension into the hamstrings as you can. Keep your chest down towards your knees, keep the neck relaxed. And bend the knees, release the stretch. Just one more. Straighten the knees, much as you can. Push the bum towards the ceiling, round the spine down towards your knees, hold it there. Relax the neck and the shoulders, and then soften the knees just a little bit so that you can walk your hands away by 3 big steps. You're going into your downward dog. So try and find that length into the arms, the length into the spine. You're pushing your bum up towards the ceiling. Your knees can be as bent as you like. Doesn't matter. So long as you're getting that length through the spine and through the arms, pushing into the hands. Hold for a few seconds, and then we're going to start pedaling one heel down at a time. So pushing your weight down into alternating heels. Keep your tummy just a little bit engaged, but don't lose that length through the spine. Make sure you're always trying to sink a little bit further into your chest. So chest towards your feet is what you're aiming for. And then center your weight over both heels. Push down into both heels, just briefly. You're going to start shifting your weight forwards. Move your hands forwards by sort of one hand step. And bring your chest over your hands. And come down into your plank position. So just holding it there. If you need to put your knees down, then do so. Shift your hands to wherever you need them to be. Your tummy's tight. You're pushing up between the shoulder blades. Breathe. Hold for another second or two. And then lower the knees slowly down to the mat. Very nicely done. Keep your feet tucked in. And just move your hands back a little bit so that your wrists are under your shoulders. There you go. Okay. I'm going to go into a brief little hover, our favorite, our million for one special. So find your neutral spine. You could do a little bit of a cat stretch and then arch the back a little bit and find that halfway in between where you've got a good curve in the lower back. You're pushing up between the shoulder blades. Your neck is neutral. So you're looking about 2 feet in front of you. Feet are tucked in. Pull the tummy tight. And you're going to just breathe out and lift those knees. And hold it there. And then soften the breath so you can hold it and breathe at the same time. Keep the lower tummy engaged. So you've got quite a lot of pressure going through the shoulders and the wrists. Legs are strong. Tummy is tight. Spine is still neutral. That looks amazing. And slowly lower back down. Release the pressure. Change the wrist position if you need to. So if it feels uncomfortable at all, then you can bolster it as much as you need to. One more time, breathing out as you lift the knees. Lifting up and hold. Keep the spine neutral, so pushing up between the shoulder blades. Careful not to sink into the lower back. Breathe while you're holding it. And slowly come back down, release it. Untuck the feet and maybe sit back to the heels for just a brief moment of rest. Stretch those arms out in front of you. Sink the bum down towards the heels. And you can move your knees apart and put your toes together if that feels comfortable. Or you can have them narrow. And just focus a little bit on the breathing where you're trying to get the breath to go into the back of the rib cage. You're rounding the spine maybe a little bit as you breathe in, stretching the rib cage. And as you breathe out, you're flattening into the rib cage. So you're squeezing all of that air out and holding it that way for a few seconds. And then pulling yourself back up onto all fours. Move your hands forwards in front of you and quite wide on the mat, so to the edges of the mat. You're going to have your knees behind your hips and then keeping your tummy engaged, start sinking your pelvis through the gap. So you are now essentially sagging your back down, but you've got your tummy engaged so that you can control the movement into the spine. So you're going as low as it feels okay for your spine to bend. And you're supporting yourself on your arms. If you need to move your hands forwards a little bit, you'll find that kind of releases the pressure, but also slide your legs back on the mat a little bit. That's also okay. You can kind of release it so that you come, you might want to move your hands forwards a bit or move your legs back a bit. There you go. And just holding it there. Try and be as comfortable as possible. The little bit of compression into the lumbar spine is not a bad thing if it's controlled. When it's an uncontrolled compression, it's not a good thing. And now you're going to start bending your elbows and kind of peel your spine down towards the mat. So see if you can sink it down one vertebra at a time and just lowering your forehead down to the mat. You can move your hands just a little bit out and your arms a little bit out away from your body so that you've got your good old cobra position. So we're going to do a baby cobra, squeezing the bum, pushing the pelvis into the mat first. So get a good anchor into the pelvis so you offload the lower back. And as you breathe in, just hover that forehead above the mat. And so you're just checking in with which muscles you're trying to work. You're trying to get the ones just below the shoulder blades to wake up a little bit. So that's kind of your hinging point. I like to call it your melting point because that's where it kind of, your spine just melts around that space. Very easy to lift into the lower back. So that's why we offset that with the glutes pushing into the mat, and then lower slowly back down and relax. Remember to breathe with this one. So use your in breath again to fill the lungs and to kind of start the movement of the lift. Keep your forehead down towards the mat though. So it's not on the mat, it's about 3 or 4 inches away from the mat. Oh, I'm talking in inches and feet today. Quite bizarre. And just holding it there. Keep that bum squeezed. Don't let the lower back work. And now if it feels okay, let's float those arms up off the mat. Keep breathing. Keep melting into that space just below the shoulder blades, across the spine. Hold it there. Keep squeezing the bum. Don't let the lower back take over. And then lower the hands and lower the forehead all the way back down. We're going to add on to that a little bit more if it feels okay. Here we go. We're going to breathe in again. So use your breath to start the movement. Squeeze the bum. Push the pelvis into the mat. Melt into that below the shoulder blade space. Lift the arms if that feels okay. Here we go. Relaxing your neck. So keep your neck as long and relaxed and squishy in those upper traps as you can. And then you're going to take your hands straight out in front of you as if you're diving into a swimming pool. Going out into the swimming pool and then bring it slowly back. Elbows come back to about 90 degrees. And then stretch forward, dive into the swimming pool. And slowly back. Try not to lose that height in your chest. Keep your neck long. Dive forward. We're going to do just one more after this. Only 4. Squeeze the bum. Offload the lower back. Last one. Stretch forward, dive into the pool, come slowly back 90 degrees and lower everything down nice and controlled and relax. You can wriggle the bum side to side and that'll just offload the lower back a little bit more, so release whatever tension builds up there. Okay, and if that felt okay, we're going to add on to that. Otherwise you could do one more set of that. I want you to move your arms out above your head and maybe into a low sort of V. So your forehead is still down on the mat. You're going to squeeze the bum, push the pelvis into the mat, tighten your legs so they're also long and straight. You're going to lift your arms and your legs and your forehead at the same time, but you want to anchor your pelvis into the mat so that you don't use your lower back too much. It will work a little bit. So we just check in a little bit. So can you offload the lower back? Can you keep your neck mostly relaxed? And then lower everything back down. So it's a very small lift. You're lifting maybe 1 to 2 inches off the floor. Relax all the way down. Your feet can be separated or they can be together. It's entirely up to you. And your arms can be almost as wide as you prefer them. So whatever feels okay in the shoulders. Let's lift up again. So use your breath again to lift. And then don't forget to breathe as you're holding it there. You're lifting the arms, your legs are long and straight and strong. Neck is relaxed, you're just hovering there. It's like you're kind of skydiving. Hold for a few seconds. Focus on being able to breathe at the same time as anchoring your pelvis. So pushing that pelvis into the mat and releasing the lower back. Come all the way down and relax. And on the last one, we're going to go into a little bit of a swimming action. So that cross pattern, you're going to lift up and hover. So breathing in, lifting the head, lifting the arms and the legs, straight and long in the limbs. And then lift that right arm and left leg just a fraction more. And then change sides to the other side. So you're doing like very slow, controlled alternating. But you've got to be able to squeeze the bum and offload that lower back a bit, using the back of the shoulders to lift that little bit extra. You're still breathing. Your neck is still mostly relaxed. I'm going to do 2 or 3 more to kind of even yourself out. Center the arms and the legs and then lower all the way down. Oh, that was a hard one. Pop the hands under your shoulders so that your elbows pop up. And you're going to push yourself all the way back in rounding your spine as you come back into your resting position. So go quite slowly into that resting position. Arms can stretch forwards. Oh, that's nice. There we go, much better. So important that we work the back of our body, but it's hard work because it's not something that we habitually do. So we'll break the habits of always working the front. Just hold it there for a few more seconds. And then when you're ready, you can pull yourself up and lying down onto your left side. Okay. Oh, nice and relaxed. Here we go. We'll start off nice and easy. So knees can be bent for this one. There we go. Your right hand can be on the mat in front of you. Then keep your feet together and your knees together. Bend your knees enough that your feet are quite tucked up towards your bum and your heels are in line with your bum. So make sure they back a little bit. Yeah, so open the hip joint flexion, that's it. Okay, engage that left side oblique. So you're pulling your waistline away from the mat a little bit, lifting up that top knee. Keep the feet together. Check that you've still got that little gap under your left waistline. And then you're going to try and lift those feet. Both of them come up. Your legs go into a diamond position. You're pushing up with your bottom leg and you're kind of pulling up with the top bum, and then come slowly back down and release all the way down. Lifting up again. Lift the top knee. Keep that left side oblique engaged, pulling away from the mat, and slowly come back down. Now lift the knee first. Push up with the feet. Keep the feet together. Keep that connection into the left oblique. I know I keep reminding you, but that's the thing that goes first. Slowly down. And last 3, so we're halfway. Up we go. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the oblique. So your right bum and your left oblique are kind of working together. Lifting up again. We've got 2 to go. And slowly down. Okay. And last 1. Squeeze. And come slowly back down. You're going to take your legs out long, so both legs go out straight. You can keep your hand in front of your tummy if you want to. Otherwise, if you want to challenge your balance a little bit, you could put your hand on your hip or up into the sky. Okay. Just check that you've got a good alignment. So from your ear and your shoulder and your hip and your knee and your ankle, everything's nice and straight. And you're going to lift those legs, so float them up into the sky. Check that you've got that left oblique. Very much the nagging mom today. Squeeze your legs together and let's lower them slowly back down. So we're going to do a little bit of a dynamic movement, lifting the legs up. Keep that little argument going between your left oblique and your lift of the legs. Is your neck relaxed? And come slowly back down with the legs. Lifting up again. Lift and squeeze and lift. Hold, 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 hold. And slowly back down. 1 more to go. Lifting those legs up. Try not to collapse into the waist. Check in with the neck, is still relaxed. Go. And come slowly back down. And you can plant your hand in front of your tummy if it was any different to that. If it was not, yeah, in front of your tummy. Bend your bottom leg. So bend the left knee. Here we go. And you're going to lift that right leg up and then down. So you're lifting the right leg just to kind of above hip height if you can. And you're lifting up into that left glute. Left oblique. Lifting up and down. So the rest of your body stays still. You're trying to do minimum movement with this one. And just 1 more on this one. Lift it up. As you come down, don't quite rest it. Take it back by like 1 digit on a clock. So you go backwards just a little bit. So it's almost just behind your hip. I'm going to lift up again, just 6 times, going up and down. Careful not to let that leg move forwards now as you lift. And check in with that side oblique muscle. So you're still lifting the waist away from the mat. Nice. Up we go. And down. Careful that the hips haven't rolled back. Make sure they're still stacked on one another. We've gone 5. One more. 6. Slowly down. Bend that knee all the way up in front and over the other leg. So you've got them uncrossed, but that leg is right up. And give the bum a little bit of a rub if you need to, but that just kind of stretches out the glute just a wee bit. And then you're going to roll over onto the other side. I can imagine that there's some unhappiness because you haven't done that rotation. I promise it's coming. I haven't forgotten. Okay. So just check your alignment. There we go. No, not your alignment too much. Your knees are going to be bent. Your heels are tucked up towards your bum, but heels are in line with the bum. So you want your knees as bent as you can, but the hips a little bit open. There we go. Dad, you can move your feet back just a little bit. That's it. Perfect. Okay. So you've got your top hand just in front of your tummy. You're going to lift that top knee up and lift the feet up, going up into that diamond shape. And then come slowly back down and close. And lifting up. Now check in with that oblique. I forgot to mention it so much so it was totally collapsed there. No such luck. Come slowly back down. And up we go. Squeezing up with the glute on the top side and pushing up with the leg on the bottom side. Coming up, squeezing it up and slowly down. We've got one more to go. Lifting it up. Squeeze at the glutes. Don't forget that oblique. And come slowly all the way down. You can stretch those legs out nice and long. Okay. Okay. And now you want to just check your alignment. So make sure that your ear and your shoulder and your hip and your knee and your ankle are all in a nice straight line. You can take that top hand. It can either be in front of your tummy or it can be on your hip or it can be up into the sky, whatever feels okay and just challenges your balance a little bit. So lifting both those legs up. Check in with your right oblique. You're holding everything there. Your neck is nice and relaxed. And then slowly back down. And lifting up again. Don't lose that connection in the oblique. So even as you lower your legs down, don't let it collapse into the side. Down we go. And lifting up again. Nice and slowly down. Lift as high as you can. Very nice. Excellent. And down. You know what that noise is? Last 2. Actually, not last 2, last 1. Then it is last 1 after this. Number 6, lift. Lift into the waistline. Slowly down. And relax. Place that top hand in front of the tummy again. Bend your bottom knee. Here we go. And we're going to lift that leg up and down. So that top leg goes up and down. As you're lifting it up and down, there's a nice easy one, but check in with that oblique. So if your oblique is collapsing, then you're using different muscles. You're using side muscles, not hip muscles, to lift the knee up and down. I mean, the leg up and down. And down. Good. And 6, last 2. And just one more. Lifting up. Come slowly down. Don't quite rest at this time. Take it back 1 notch on the clock. So it's just behind your hip. And then lifting it up again. Don't collapse into the waistline. Now you're going to feel the glute working really hard as you lift it up to the back and the side. Relax the shoulders and the neck if you can. 5, 6. Can we do 2 more for good luck? 7. And last one. Squeeze it up and bend that knee. Bring it forwards and up and over in front of the other one and just release that glute a little bit. And we're going to roll over onto our backs. So we will get a little bit of a release later, I promise. It's on the cards. Okay, taking your hands up to the ceilings, yeah, that's excellent. And interlace the fingers. You're going to take the hands behind your head. Lift the elbows so they're just in your peripheral vision. You're going to lift your legs up to tabletop. Keep that tummy nice and tight. You want to stabilize your spine where it is, and then lifting your head, you're going to look towards your tummy and raise the shoulders off the ground, but you're not tucking your pelvis under, so you've still got your lower spine in a neutral position. And then we're going to tap one toe down to the mat and come back up and change sides. And tap the toe down and come up. And the whole time you don't lose height in the shoulders. Your shoulders stay up at the same height. Your spine stays in the same position. And you can speed it up if it feels okay, if you're able to keep that integrity of the position. Keeping the elbows wide. Done. That's 6 to go. So 3 on each side. Last 2. And bring the legs back up to tabletop. Lower the shoulders back down and hug those knees up to the chest. Just get a nice little release into the lower back. You can wriggle the legs side to side if that feels okay. So just rock the body side to side. All right, and with your legs up, you're going to pop the hands so they're just under your bum. So almost your thumbs are going to be under the bums. There we go. Okay, push your lower back onto the mat for this one. So we're going to go into an imprint. That's where you're pushing that lower lumbar spine into the back, into the mat. Pull the tummy tight, and that's what keeps your spine in that same position. Straighten out one leg, quite low if you can, and then bringing it back. Change to the other side. As you straighten your leg out, it's less about what your leg is doing, and it's more about whether your tummy is able to keep your back flat on the mat the whole time. So try and relax the arms and the neck and the shoulders, and try and let it all be about the tummy muscles. You'll feel that arms do push a little bit just to counterbalance the legs. Don't forget to breathe. We've got to feed our muscles. And we're going to do about 3 more, or balance yourself out. So whichever one you started with, end with the last one. Bring the knees back up, and either you can carry on doing that same movement if that felt okay, or we're going to take both legs out at the same time. So plant your lower back into the mat, use the lower tummy muscles, and straighten out both legs. You can go a little bit higher this time, and then bring them back. You're just checking in to see if your tummy can keep your spine in that position. And as you check in, if you can go lower with your legs, then maybe challenge those tummy muscles a little bit and see if they can work a little bit harder. And each time your knees come back to your chest, just check that you're planting the back into the mat. You're keeping a good imprint of the spine. Good, that's 5. We're going to do 3 more. If you're doing one leg at a time, just keep going. That looks very good. And last one, bring those knees all the way back and just hug them up to your chest. And again, the lower back does get somewhat involved, but it should be unconsciously involved. So you don't want to feel the lower back working, but it is a core muscle exercise. All right. Taking the hands back up to the ceiling, keep the legs up there, interlace the fingers, pop the hands behind the head, elbows into your peripheral vision. Take your legs to tabletop. Right. We're going to go into a little chest lift. So glance to the belly and then lifting the shoulders up. Now it's not too serious if your lower back imprints. So if you do curl the spine, that's fine. I want you to straighten out your left leg and twist your shoulders to the right. And then come back to the center. And twist to the left, straighten the right leg. And come back to the center. Change sides. So try and find your own comfortable sort of flow with this one and focus on your breathing. So you can often use your breath to help you as you go into that contraction, which is the stage at which you're twisting the shoulders across. That's the contracting stage. There we go. Let's do 2 more, or balance yourself out. So 2 or 3 more if you need to, not 1 or 2 more. Come back to the center and shoulders back down. Hug those knees up to the chest. Nicely done. That one's super hard. You often see people doing that in the gym and they'll do it super quickly. But the slower you do it, the more controlled you do it. It's actually a harder exercise. Okay, nicely done. Right, hands down to a low V and take your legs back to tabletop. Okay, you're going to glue the knees together and you're going to glue the feet together. Now you're going to let your knees go over to the side just a little bit. So let your hips roll over to the side and then gently bring the knees back to the center. So do a small movement to start off with. We're just checking in with those oblique muscles to see whether your side tummy muscles can pull your knees back into the center. There's 2 main things to look out for here as you go back side to side, is can you keep your shoulders on the mat and can you keep your knees level? You're going to see they're going to want to slide a little bit. So as you go over to the right, you're going to see your left knee wants to dip down a little bit. So keep the knees level as you go side to side, and then you can start extending your range just a little bit. And see if maybe you can get the knees to go a little bit lower. But you've got to be able to pull it back using your tummy muscles. Okay, over to the side. And maybe breathe out as you bring your knees back. That's your contraction stage. Then slide side to side, nice and easy. Not super challenging in terms of muscle work. It's more of a stability training. So you're getting the right muscles to work. Keep your shoulders in the right place and to keep your knees level. And then the next time you go over to the left, you're going to just keep going with your knees and go all the way over to the left. Just let your knees come all the way down. Rest them down there. You see what we did here? You can place your left hand onto the right knee, so onto the top of the right thigh. So you've got a little bit of a traction there. And then your right hand should be out to the side. And you can start doing like a little half snow angel. So lifting that arm up towards your ear, sliding it down and around the side, all the way down to the back of your hips, so down to the bum. And then sliding it back up. Oh, you're doing fine there. So you can take it all the way up to your ear. Yeah, you can either do circles, or you can just do like a half moon. So from the back of your bum, go up behind you to the back of your head, stop there, and then come back down to the back of your bum. So you're doing a circle still, but that's fine. Kind of whatever feels nice-ish. You can change direction if you are doing a circle. If you're doing a sweep, just that half moon, then you'll be changing direction anyway, because you're just sweeping up and down behind you. Your position is perfect, Mom, so don't worry. Okay. And then the next time that your arm comes kind of down to that low V position, pause there for a second. Take your left hand off your knee. And then you might want to help your knees with your left hand to come back to the center. Otherwise, you could use lots of tummy muscles to pull your legs back to the center and let them go all the way over to the right side. So just let them flop down to the right. Well, not flop. No, don't flop. Let them control it. And pop that right hand on top of the left leg. There we go. Okay. So your chest can still be facing mostly towards the ceiling. There we go. Okay, now your arm goes up towards your left ear, and then you can swoop it back down, that same side, down towards the back of your bum. And then lifting up again. Or you can do circles, and that's fine. Circles actually, yeah, you'll often find that one side is easier than the other. No, I'm just thinking about the sort of following the direction. Yeah. Well, that's also dominant-sidedness. That's okay. I actually feel less coordinated. I feel less coordinated doing this side. Excuse me, Jack. Yeah. It should feel fairly nice. You'll often find that one side feels less in the coordination or less in the range of movement, or both. Almost done there. And then when you take that arm all the way down to the side, down to your low V, you can take your right hand off your knee, and then you can either help your knees to come back up with your right hand, or you can engage a whole lot of tummy muscles and pull those knees back to the center and hug the knees up to the chest. Here we go. And if you want to, you could tuck the chin in and round your spine into the smallest little ball that you can. Just hold it there for a few seconds. Good. And taking the head back down, shoulders back down. You're going to put your feet down to the mat. In case you thought we weren't going to do pelvic curls, oh my gosh. Hands down by your sides. You're going to tuck those feet up quite close to your bum. Feet are going to be shoulder width apart, knees are parallel, or thighs are parallel to one another, and squeezing the bum, rolling the hips up off the mat. Squeeze the bum, use the hamstrings, push into the heels. See if you can relax the neck and the shoulders. You're not using your arms for this one. And once you're at the top, squeeze a little bit more. So go up through that comfort zone. So go just a little bit higher. So easy to do these that one tends to stay within a safe zone. And then from the top of your spine, see if you can articulate one vertebra at a time, coming slowly, slowly, slowly down onto the mat, and then release the pelvis. I'm going to roll back up again. So squeeze the bum, rolling up through the hips. Go, relax the neck and the shoulders. Use the hamstrings, use the glutes, push into the heels a little bit. And now push a little bit higher, go through that comfort zone, push past that happy place. See if you can use a little bit more of your glutes to push up, not your lower back. And then from the top of the spine, rolling slowly back down. Okay, we're going to go up again. Rolling slowly up, squeeze the bum. So engage your glutes and your hamstrings as soon as you can, lifting up. Come a little bit through that comfort zone again, hold it there. And now we're going to start lifting one heel at a time. So you're just pushing onto the ball of one foot and then put that heel back down. And lift up onto the ball of the foot and slowly back down. Changing sides and going down. So you're alternating. And just notice how hard it is not to shudder on the way down with your heel. As you lower your heel down towards the floor, you might well notice a bit of a shudder. So working eccentric movement in that particular movement. Squeeze the bum, so don't forget about the bum. Don't let your back work. And relax the neck and the shoulders. Always going through our little checklist. And slowly down. Lifting up and down. And nearly done. Balance yourself out and then pause briefly. We're not going down just yet. So check in that the bum is working hard and the hamstrings are working hard. You're going to lift the ball of your foot and come down. And lift the other side and down. It's going to be a smaller movement, so you can't lift it as much. But be very careful that your hips don't drop. You're still squeezing the pelvis up. And you're trying to lift the ball of the foot as high as you can. Okay, the toes are going to have to work a little bit. Very nice. Hamstrings should be burning, bum should be working. Give it a poke if it's not. Almost done. Even it out. 2 or 3 more. Here we go. And then from the top of your spine, slowly roll back down. Make it as specific as you can, as accurate as you can. Pushing the lower back into the mat. Release the spine slowly and then release the pelvis and feel that nice melting sensation as your hamstrings get to relax. It's so nice. Okay, and after all that glute work, let's cross the left ankle onto the right thigh. Lift up the right leg, hold behind the right leg. Here we go. And you're going to get that right knee up towards your chest as much as you can so that you already feel your glute stretch. Hold it there. And then see if you want to bend that elbow on the left side and just push out on the left knee, just a little bit extra. And if you've got like a mega stretch going on there, then you could maybe even try and arch the lower back just a little bit. Not to cause tension in the lower back, but to increase that stretch into the left hip or the left glute. I'm going to be quite aggressive with this one, so give it a good old shove with that elbow. And then you can slowly just let go of that left thigh, but don't uncross the legs just yet. Slide that left leg all the way over the right leg. Hold on to your shins. Bring those knees up to your chest as tightly as you can. And then pulling the ankles a little bit away from each other. You can be fairly aggressive with this one, but not as much as the previous glute stretch. This one, you don't want to force it into uncomfortable positions. It's stretching your piriformis, which is a small little muscle that is close to your sciatic nerve. So if it gets too tight, then it causes havoc there. You also don't want to be overly aggressive and make it grumpy. Grumpy glute muscles are worst case scenario. All right. And you can gently release those legs, slowly uncross them. Place the left foot down and cross the right leg over onto the left leg. So go just your ankle onto your thigh, hold behind the left leg. Bring that knee up as close as you can to your chest. You're already feeling a stretch, and then push out with the elbow on the right leg. And then see if you can maybe arch that lower back just a little bit. And again, on this one, you'll notice the difference between the two sides, possibly. Unless you are super flexible. And with these ones, you might feel it in the glute, or you might feel it in the adductor. So your inner thigh muscle might also be stretching. Kind of just depends on where your body is tight. Careful that the hips are not skidding out to the left side. So you're going to want to do a little banana shape out to the left. Good. Hold it there for a few more seconds. And then release behind that the left side. Slide the thighs all the way over. Hold on to the ankles. Bring those knees up to your chest and see if you can pull the ankles apart just a little bit. Try and relax the shoulders as far as possible. A nice deep breath. And then you can just slowly release that. Uncross the legs nice and slowly. Hold the knees up to your chest, both of them equally. Round yourself into a ball and maybe hold behind the thighs. You're going to give a little kick and you're going to roll yourself up into that fancy sitting position. See if you can just balance there for a second. Very nice. Oh, very good. Very pressed. And then place those feet slowly back down. You're going to swing yourself around so that you come onto the balls of your feet. I'm just going to turn around so that no one needs my bum in their face. There we go. Okay, so you're on the balls of your feet. Your feet are shoulder width apart or hip distance apart. You can be on your hands for now. So that's it. You've got a little bit of pressure onto the hands. And you can just slowly push the bum up towards the ceiling, drop the heels down, and come to the bottom of your roll down position. Just hang there for a few seconds. So check that the neck is nice and relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed. The knees are soft. Or maybe they're quite bent. So if your hands are still down on the mat, then that's fine. You guys are looking very flexible today. Very good. Okay, hold it for a few seconds. And then you're going to start shifting your weight. And I want you just to see if you can lift up one foot. Doesn't really matter which one, but without lifting your chest, see if you can lift the one foot, just a fraction. Just hover it. And then place that foot back down. And then see if you can lift the other foot. And just see how that feels. It should be quite super hard, actually. And put that foot slowly back down.
Then you're going to go into a bit of a rolling, moving upwards, restacking the spine so that your hands are kind of in line with the knees again, but you're not putting your hands on the front of the knees. You're just staying in that rounded spine position. Relax the shoulders and the neck. Shift your weight over. Your knees are soft, so they've got to be an open joint. Shift your weight over and let's see if you can lift the one leg. Just hover it, a tiny little lift. And then slowly put that foot down and change over to the other side. Shift the weight over. Keep everything else in the same position. Hold. And then placing that foot back down. Then we're going to slowly start restacking the spine just a little bit more. Coming all the way up into a tall standing position. Here we go. Oh gosh, like I've been blown through a windmill here. All right. Now, lifting up your left leg. So I'm doing a mirror image for you guys. Lifting up the left leg. You're going to go into a little roll down. So just see how this feels. So keep the toe close to the ground so that you could pop it down if you need to. See how it feels. Do a bit of a roll down and try and be as articulated through your spine as you normally are. So be very aware that you don't just hinge down. Keep the knees slightly bent. Keep the eyes open. Touch the toe down if you need to. And see how low you can go into the bottom of your roll down. And then slowly start restacking the spine. Keep the tummy nice and tight. That foot should be wobbling and twitching and waggling and all that stuff. And slowly all the way up. Articulate through the spine. Grow tall through the shoulders and the crown of your head. Quite a different way to do a roll down. And place that foot down, changing over to the other side. So lifting the right leg. Soften the knee that you're standing on. And then start rolling down. So let the chin come down to your tummy. Let the shoulders come forward. Arms are heavy. Keep the tummy engaged. See if you can still articulate through the spine. So don't hinge through the spine. Going all the way down to the bottom of your roll down if you can. Should feel the glute goes a little bit mad and has to work quite hard. And then start restacking the spine. Keep articulating through each vertebra. Coming up all the way up tall. Shoulders come back. Head comes up tall and foot goes back down. And the last one, we're going to just do a normal, good old standard roll down. Tuck the chin in, hang the arms heavy, soften the knees, tummy tight. The whole checklist is ticked all the way down. See how far you can go this time. See if you feel maybe a little bit more flexible at the end of moving for an hour, and slowly come back up, restacking the spine, building those Lego blocks, one on top of the other. Growing tall through the spine. There we go. To feel like someone's pulling you out the top of your head. Arms up to the ceiling. Deep breath in. Fill up the lungs. And lovely. Nice fresh air coming through here. Last one. Up. And there you have it. And it's Friday. Weekend. Pleasure. Well done.